Hey, this week I want to talk about something that kind of took place in the comment section. And it wasn't something really bad. It was something I chose to disengage from, and I chose to stop responding to the individual. For one thing, I was losing my temper, and I was trying not to because I could honestly kind of understand the person's perspective. It's not a situation where I'm dealing with a fucking AA troll or one of those assholes that pops up out of the woodwork every couple of months to leave me a real insulting comment. In fact, it's kind of funny because every time there is one particular asshole, unless they're all stupid, which that's not hard to conceive of, but there is one particular individual every couple of months I get a real nasty, underhanded comment from. And I look at their YouTube channel, and they just created the YouTube channel like a week or two ago. So I don't know if you have a limitless supply of email addresses to keep doing it, or if it's just a weird coincidence of what it is. But as I told that person, get better with your insults because they're childish. But I don't want to give them too much attention because that's what those kind of assholes want. But this person I was actually largely sympathetic to when they first responded to me because they were saying, I'm new to AA. I hadn't been going to AA very long. I don't see any of the dogmatic behavior you're talking about. I see a lot of more open minded people than what you're talking about. And like I said, I tried to keep my patience with the person because I've been there. I've been in that boat. In fact, several other subscribers on this channel chimed in and said more or less the same thing I was saying. Look, we've been there. You know, when I was my first year in AA, I thought I had found a wonderful place. I thought I had found some like-minded individuals that thought a lot like me. I had not completely overcome the religious thinking of my Catholic upbringing in my youth, and I still had some religious programming going on with me, and I didn't know a lot about logical fallacies in those days. As a matter of fact, it's cringeworthy to admit now, but I didn't know anything about that kind of thing. And it was a little bit more easier for me to get sucked into the cult in those days than, well, older and wiser. But I tried to be patient in explaining that, and I was going to leave it. I was going to leave it alone and just stop fooling with it when I said, look, the most important lessons in life, and I didn't tell the person this, but in my own experience, the most important lessons in life are the lessons you learn by yourself. So I just more or less said, I'm going to give you all the warnings I can give you about predatory behavior in there, and I can give you all the warnings I can about not trusting anybody in there, because, there's countless testimonies of what that can lead to. And they said, but that's all I could say about it. When I lost my patience and when I started to get really pissed off is when they come back at me and they said, well, I figured it out. Where you people are going, there's probably no diversity. You're going to all the wrong meetings. All of you aren't going to the right meetings. And it reminded me of that same snarky ass comment that I'm sure all of us who are deprogramming on here are former AA members or people who have left the cult of AA or people who are still active in AA and are experiencing doubts about it. Have heard this before. When you point out something that's inherently wrong in an AA meeting, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? As though we never have thought about that. That always pissed me off. It always bothered me because, I was in an AA for 11 years. So yeah, I went to a lot of different meetings. I went to different states. I went to different locations. And I've lived in other parts of the country. So yeah, I have been to other meetings. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I found out it was pretty much the same old shit. As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can go look up one of my old videos about my country club AA experience when I was with all those wealthy people and all of that other kind of thing. But what pissed me off was there was a bit of I don't think the person really meant it that way, but it came across that way. In this condescending, snarky ass tone of you people aren't going to meetings where it's diverse like it is out here in California. Now, it is true, even though, ironically enough, I got a shirt on that says Monterey, and I've never been to Monterey. I've never been to California. The closest I ever got to Monterey was a book called Cannery Row. It's a book about basically nothing. It's about a bunch of drunks over there in Monterey on Cannery Row. That's the closest I've ever gotten to California, so it's true. I don't know what it's like in California, but I can pretty much guarantee because California is home to the famous, infamous, I don't even know if they're still active now that he's dead, the Clancy Group. There was a subscriber, and I need to go look up the file she sent me, that was also in California, a group called the Big Book Awakenings, where your sponsors get to decide all kinds of things that are way outside even normal AA Big Book cult material. The really fanatical cult within a cult. So I'm highly skeptical that a geographical situation or region of the country produces a different breed of people in a recovery program, especially like I've said in other videos on here when I got subscribers from all over the country, subscribers in Canada, subscribers in the UK and everywhere else, and they all report the same malignant type of behavior. But it was kind of insulting to me to say that I don't understand anything about diversity. I went to meetings in a place, maybe you've heard of it if you're still watching this channel, you who commented that. There's a place called New York City, and before the gentrification, New York City was full of some really colorful characters. It still kind of is. The last time I visited, 2017, I think it was, or something like that. But it's nothing like the old New York. And I think for those of us who have ever, for those of you out there watching it, not those of us, but for those of you who ever went to New York back in the days, you know the kind of place I'm talking about, where you go into the corner market, and there's a guy outside, and he's dressed like some cartoon character, and he's reciting Shakespeare, and he's got maybe a pigeon on his arm, on his shoulder, and he's got something else in his hand right here, and he's doing that, and you go up to the counter to buy whatever it is you're going to buy at the market, and you say to the guy, "Hey, what's the deal with the guy out there?" And he says, "What guy out there?" And you say, the guy right there, that whatever the fuck. Oh, him. That's Sal. He's been doing that for 20 years. Well, what was he doing before that? He was dressed like Mickey Mouse, The one freedom of New York City is that you could be whoever you want to be in New York City. That was one big major thing during my time there, Nobody here cares who I am. Nobody here cares what I am. You can be any kind of personality. You can be anything you want. And this is not a video about New York. It's a video about diversity. I understand diversity. I'm pretty sure people who watch this channel, who comment in the the subscribers who comment, another one of my gaffes there, know a little bit about diversity. We know a lot about different people. We know about different meetings, and we know about different personalities, and yet we continue to report the same kinds of malignant, disgusting, cult-like behaviors that go on all over the place. But you are trying to claim that out of all of the testimonies and out of all the experiences and out of all the other things that I talk about on here, that you found the one perfect meeting that exists. And that's just the right meeting for you. Let me ask you this question. And this is, I'm kind of needing some subscriber participation here. If you're a California subscriber, let me know what it's like out there. Is it really like the old Scott McKenzie song with flowers in your hair where everything is love and light and perfect? Or is it the same old kind of malignant AA that I've heard about from California subscribers? But what are you going to do in this so-called open-minded meeting if, God forbid, you ever slip and drink again? I mean, if you ever slip and drink again and you go to a different AA meeting because you're a little bit embarrassed to go back to this wonderful open-minded AA meeting, and you say, I was going to AA and I love the group a lot, but I fucked up and drank again. I mean, it was a small drink. It was not like that. And they're like, well, did you have a sponsor? Were you working the steps? Did you do a third step on your knees with someone like, I had a... Because I can tell you this, if you want me to talk program shit at you, I can do that. I can tell you that unless you do a third step on your knees with a sponsor, according to the way it used to be done, the old-fashioned kind of way, you haven't done a real third step. See, I was told that by certain old-timers, and you know what? When I did the third step on my knees with them, it felt like a fucking idiot for praying a prayer, and I drank again. It was something else I had done wrong. I was told one time that if you did your fourth step with 4 columns versus 3 columns, you didn't do a real 4th step. You were doing it with a treatment center, moron, and that's not real sobriety. The book says 3 columns. And, of course, I did it with 3 columns, and I drank again, and I was told that it was something else wrong with me, and something else wrong with me, and something else wrong with me. The point is, you're going to find out if you ever, God forbid, slip, how open-minded these people really are. See, I found a group like that one time. I said, these are a bunch of nice people that mainly talk about their personal lives and their jobs and all that other kind of thing. There's no real dogmatic crap here. I found a good AA meeting that I went to, and then I saw what they did to relapsers. This was before I became a relapser myself. And I saw them share things in meetings like some have to die so that others can live. Or they would say things like, it's by the grace of God, there go I. It used to infuriate me when I would hear people say things like, I was coming out of a store today and I saw a guy behind a dumpster and he had vomit all over him and he was shaking and he was crying as he was trying to get a bottle down. And I just looked at the sky and I said, thank you, God. Yeah, thank you, God, for letting him suffer and giving me special privileges over him because I don't know what exactly it is so wonderful about you that you get these special privileges over other people. You could point out that, I could point out that in the documentary film, the 13th Step, 13th Step the Film, I think is the name of it. It's been a while since I watched it, maybe a year or two. There was a guy that worked at the Intergroup in New York, and he said he got letter after letter after letter after letter after letter over the years of all the abhorrent behavior that goes on in AA, and he was more or less told by his superiors, there's nothing we can do about it. You know, there's no leaders in AA, that kind of thing. It got me to thinking about the condescending, snarky nature of people who will tell people, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? Have you ever thought about going to other meetings? Because it's a refusal of AA members to acknowledge that there's a deep problem within their own organization. You notice in this video, I haven't even talked about all the illogical fallacies in the literature and how the literature is not scientifically valid, backed by empirical evidence, and how it's not logically sound, and how it's based on unproven assertions. I don't even need to get into that for this one. I'm talking about the rot that is going on in AA meetings that nobody ever wants to really acknowledge. AA members themselves, they may say something to you like, have you ever thought about going to another meeting if something terrible happens to you at the hands of some unsavory character? But you never are ever going to hear one of them say, you know, there's a problem. There's a serious problem in AA, with AA, the way it's run, the way it's being run, the code of silence that falls over all the predators, the thieves, those who are taking advantage of vulnerable people here. There is a problem. There should be something done about it. You won't ever hear nobody do that. They'll look at you and they'll condescendingly ask you, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? As though it's your fault that you went to a meeting and you got victimized by somebody. As though it's your fault for picking a meeting. It's a blame the victim type situation. It reminds me, I'll post a link to an article, if I can find one, about the Karla Brada murder case. At the time that happened, and 48 Hours did a special on it, I remember this because this was around the time I was getting out of AA, even though the murder happened in 2011, I think, but it was 14, 15 when I remember hearing about this, because I was in the process of leaving the cult religion. And I remember at that time when 48 Hours, and I think they posted it on Facebook even, had posted the little segment that they had done about her murder. And all these AA people were in the comments. I didn't see a single AA person. And I know that, and I'm going to go into a little bit more here, but I didn't see a single person in the comments saying, you know what, this is a fucking tragedy. This is a terrible thing that happened to her. There ought to be something done about AA. There ought to be some accountability somewhere. The way this thing is run, you know, I've seen things. I've witnessed things. Maybe it's time that we kind of get down together somewhere, maybe in, you know, wherever. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time we start rethinking the way we're doing this thing. Maybe we should say to ourselves, if we're truly not a religion, and we're truly not an absolutist cult that deals in dogma rather than scientific facts, maybe the way this thing is structured and run needs to be overhauled. Maybe anything. I didn't see any comments like that. All I saw was a bunch of people saying, you can't blame AA because of this. You can't blame AA. And I saw people saying it was her own fault, that she chose to associate with somebody like that. I saw a lot of victim blaming. I saw mainly people that were just saying AA cannot be blamed for this. They were upset that 48 Hours ran a segment that this kind of culture exists in AA, a silent kind of culture that exists in AA that nobody in the mainstream media and nobody in the mainstream community seems to want to talk about. But that this is going on. I didn't see a single AA member saying, yeah, this is happening. This is happening all over the place. And we need to do something about it. Or at least we need to make people aware of it's happening. I saw a bunch of people saying, well, nothing like this ever happened in my meeting. I saw a bunch of people saying, well, it was her own fault. She knew what she was getting involved in. Talk about classic victim blaming. I saw a whole bunch of people saying, well, the very idea that you could even mention AA is just a violation of the traditions. The traditions aren't written in stone, asshole. The traditions don't make you exempt from the rules of reality. But that's all I saw. And so, as a test at the time, because I was going to AA still at this time, and I was pretty much branded a chronic relapser, and I didn't have, you know, any credibility in the rooms because, after all, I couldn't stay sober longer than 20, 30 days, if that. But I floated the story around just to see what would happen. I went in there and I said to a few people, that meeting before the meeting where they're all standing around outside and they're smoking and they're talking shit about everybody. And most of the time I was ignored unless it was a condescending lecture to be given to me. But I said, anybody heard about that Karla Brada murder case one time when it was quiet? No, I'm not familiar with that. What was that all about? And when I explained it, and I said 48 hours is talking about accountability in AA, that maybe AA has a culture that allows this sort of thing to go on. Every single one of those assholes that was standing out there, the great gurus, the ones who fake these performances in AA for, their own benefit, obviously, as I've kind of alluded to in the last couple of videos I've done, every fucking one of them said the exact same thing. It was almost like if they had some way to disguise their voices, I would not have had any way possible of discerning that it was a different person. Well, you certainly, sure as fuck, can't blame AA for this. Well, I mean, the women come in here and then they end up getting raped or something, and they want to act like it's our fault. They know what they're doing. They're the predators and all. That's all I heard. And I didn't see one fucking person talking about this is a tragedy. This is terrible. I didn't see anybody say, well, God, it's a shame that she hooked up with some abuser in AA that brutally murdered her, and the home group said, don't go to the police. It might make the AA group look bad. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see one. Look at this as a tragedy. Look at this as a loss. Look at this with any kind of sadness. I just saw a bunch of people saying, well, nothing like that's ever happened in my meeting. And some of the people saying that were the worst predators. There was one guy who I knew for a fact was giving drugs to newcomers. And he was standing up there saying, well, I remember in my old home group, we threw people like that out. And, it just pisses me off that these fucking... And of course, it was all her fault, the way they were blaming it. These bitches come in here and they try to make AA look bad. No, you're doing that all by yourself quite perfectly. But I find it very insulting. In fact, the more I think about it, the more irritated I get. That when you try to point out things that are going on, when you point out things that are happening and taking place, and when you're pointing out what's going on, you're told, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? Which, by the way, is kind of interesting because the thing they read at the beginning of every meeting about a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscious, and all this bullshit talk they do about God, and all this bullshit talk they do about spirituality and religion and all this other kind of crap. Why is it, I guess God's not present in those other meetings that you should avoid, right? I guess those people, I guess those meetings, the higher power AA God is not concerned with those meetings. He's only concerned with the right meetings. Other meetings, he just doesn't give a shit about. Because if you truly believe this program is miraculous and guided by some God in the beyond space and time netherworld, then why is this abhorrent behavior taking place in certain meetings? Why do you have to excuse it by saying, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? It's funny to me, not really funny in a comical kind of way, but it's irritating to me that you're willing to minimize people's pain, people's suffering, people's real victimization, and say, well, you know what? I don't really give a shit about any of it because I found a perfect AA meeting. I found a perfect AA meeting, and so it doesn't really matter if all those other people are getting fucked over or not. Like I said on here before, anybody who's been watching me for any period of time knows I grew up in the Catholic Church. It's cringeworthy now to think about it, but I was an altar boy even at one point. I even did extra work in the church. I got to know the priests in ways that would make you realize they're not holy. I heard a lot of priests curse. I saw a lot of priests drink. I saw other things, but I never experienced sexual abuse. I never experienced that. I never had a pedophile priest come after me. I never heard any allegations about that. Now, there was a story I told about a particular asshole priest. In fact, I forgot which video it was in. I was talking about something that happened to me when I was young in the Catholic Church that I later saw his name in the registry of pedophiles. He was an actual predator. He was a priest who was a predator. I didn't like him. He was a fucking asshole. He laid some heavy guilt trips on me, but I had no knowledge or any experience that he was what he truly was, which is a fucking monster. But what kind of a person would I be to say, well, you know what? I never got molested by any priest, so therefore, these children who got molested by priests, did they ever think about going to other masses? Did they ever think about going to other parishes? Did they ever think about, maybe they should have tried a different church? I mean, what kind of garbage excuse would that be? What kind of a garbage human being would I be to say something like that to somebody? Somebody comes to me and lets me know that they've been victimized by some fucking guru in AA, and the only thing I can offer them is not any consolation, not any, there's a lot of sick fucking people in here that you need to be careful of or wary of or something like that. Well, you know what, I'm really sorry that happened to you, but maybe you should have just went to another meeting. But that is the entire culture of AA, isn't it? To make you feel like you're responsible to be blamed for everything. There's a topic of a video I would like to talk about sometime in the near future about these character defects and how maybe these character defects are just part of being a human being and there's not actually such a thing as a character defect. But that would require a little bit of a longer dissertation and that would derail from this topic at hand. But don't fucking tell me how you found the perfect AA meeting and the hell with everybody else. Don't tell me how, well, I know what your problem is. Your problem is you were just going to all the wrong meetings, and everybody on this channel who's a subscriber who had bad experiences, they were just going to the wrong meetings. In other words, you found the perfect meeting, fuck everybody else, fuck whether AA is accurate or not, fuck whether or not it protects people who do unsavory things. You found the perfect meeting, and it's all the rest of us ignoramuses that were just too dumb to figure out how to choose the right meeting. There's a form of victim blaming in there that really irritates me. As a fact, in an online group, somebody was talking about that on one of these Reddit pages. That was one of the go-to things. Did you ever think about going to other meetings? No. 11 years of going to AA, 11 fucking years in that poisonous, malignant cult, and I never thought about trying another meeting. Chime in on the comments, especially if you're a California subscriber, because according to this person, in California, it's all love and open-mindedness. Nobody even talks about the Big Book or the 12 Steps or any of the rest of that stuff. It's a perfect AA meeting out there, Chime in and let me know what your experiences were with, have you ever thought about going to other meetings? I didn't really prepare for this week, but that kind of irritated me when I finally chose to stop responding, because I'm not going to go back and forth with someone who's told me that my problem is I just never figured out how to go to the right meetings like all my subscribers. See, I know what your problem is. All you guys are all going to the wrong meetings. So if you're a subscriber or a commenter, let me know. Were you just going to the wrong meetings? Or is there a problem of internal rot inside AA that really needs to be talked about? See you guys next week, hopefully.